Well, orange has never been my color, probably never will be, but we're making an exception for Taylor. So, we've had a week, guys. We've had a week to absorb this album, digest it, and process it. There's been plenty of polarized critiques, as we all know. Anybody who's been keeping up. If you've never been here before, my name is Mariana. I decided to wait to do my follow-up video until after I saw, Taylor's interviews and see her breakdowns and her elaborations on certain songs. So in case it does, help me to understand it more, or if it doesn't. The truth is, I was recording a video yesterday because yesterday was Friday. Today is Saturday, October the 11th. It is currently 7:18. I need to charge my phone. I was originally recording a video yesterday, but long story short, I really didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how, the lighting was, and I was rambling, to be completely honest. I was rambling. I should have taken better notes because there was plenty of things that I wanted to say, plenty of things that I wanted to point out for this album. And then I ended up opening my stuff. As you can see, I decided to wear my necklace today. This album definitely turned out to be different than what everybody expected. I do agree to a certain degree with fans. I am a strong believer that everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I'm referring to the fans that are genuine fans with genuine constructive criticism, right? I'm not talking about the ones that literally are over here condemning her entire career at this point altogether off of one album. Mind you, it was the biggest debut album in US history. She surpassed the 2 billion mark at this point with this album. She's still breaking records. I haven't heard anyone mention this yet. I haven't heard anyone, verbally establish it out loud. Is nobody gonna talk about the fact that she has no breakup songs on this album? Guys, think about it. Like, Ruin the Friendship doesn't count. That's like reminiscent on a person she was never even with. Actually, Romantic is not about a breakup. Father Figure is not about a breakup. Neither is Cancelled. You know what I mean? Even if it might, imply negative emotions or whatever, it may be, there's no breakup songs. As far as the track list, there are songs that grow on me, and there are songs that grow neutral too. So let's go back. So for the track list, I think the first 4 tracks are like a solid run. Fate of Ophelia, Elizabeth Taylor, Opalite, and Father Figure. Those are probably literally like my top 4 favorite songs. I just love that first 1 through 4. The songs that I know will be probably on like my bottom 3 were Eldest Daughter, Ruin the Friendship, and Honey. Of course, they're not terrible songs. I would never down talk them, but those didn't captivate me the way the others did. With Eldest Daughter, I had originally been feeling that the lyrics were a bit like scattered. When you're having conversation with someone and you guys kind of like burn through different topics like kind of fast. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but that's kind of the way the lyrics felt to me. But I know that there's plenty of people that vouch for that song, and that's cool. Maybe I just don't understand it yet, so I'm willing to concede that much. For Ruin the Friendship, I was just expecting something a little more upbeat, especially from a track 6, but that's just personal preference. The bridge and the end of the song kind of make the rest of the song make sense, so it's a valid song, but it's not one that grabs me. I do think that plenty of the songs do go with the concept of Showgirl. I was originally thinking that maybe actually Romantic didn't really fit the concept, but it kind of does though, because in every line of work you have those peers or those co-workers or fellow people of the same line of work that you do that you might not get along with, or there might be some kind of a level of animosity between you guys for whatever reason. So that quickly changed my mind back. Again, we've had a week, so I did go a little bit back and forth with some of these songs. I was only aware of Charlie's comment from the Reputation tour times about the Swifties like they're like a bunch of 5-year-olds or something along those lines. I did hear about that, but I know that Taylor didn't really do anything about it. She wasn't, I don't think it went that far. I went about my day. And then I didn't know about the severed hand in some album photo shoot, and I didn't know about her boyfriend being in the same band as Taylor's ex. I had no idea about that, and I didn't know about the whole fingers crossed, I hope they break up quick. I didn't know about Sympathy is a Knife. And then after doing my research and watching my favorite reactors, I found that out. I'm like, oh dang. It's me. Hi. I just wanted to mention the fact that apparently I didn't say anything about Wishlist, so I sincerely apologize. For Wishlist, I was originally going to have that as part of my bottom 3, because I've never been a big fan of her like slower atmospheric songs. They just don't resonate with me the way others do. But with Wishlist, I did watch her on Jimmy Fallon, how she had elaborated on the fact that she got the inspiration from Happy Gilmore when he goes to his happy place, that utopia kind of mindset. So that definitely helped. It might not be in my top 5 still, but I definitely like it a lot better after hearing her. So that's all. When I was trying to like genuinely understand where fans were coming from as far as the difference in the concept of her album versus, the lyrical content that we ended up receiving, I think it's different this time around because given the fact that Tortured Poets was, 31 songs, we had not even a full 2 years with that album before she put out one that was less than half of what that other album was. I feel like maybe that'll naturally make more room for us to critique, 12 songs as opposed to 31. If you have like 4 or 5 that you don't like, you still like the other, 25, 26. Another comparison that I made myself where I kind of argued with myself back and forth. At first, I was thinking, well, why are people so, critical of how many love songs are on here as opposed to whatever definition of a showgirl song people had in their minds? Because with Reputation, it was almost the same thing. If you think about it, you had I did something bad, look what you made me do, and this is why we can't have nice things. Those are the main 3 songs from Reputation that are actually, strictly about the drama that she went through. So the rest of the songs, they have to do with, her falling for Joe. Maybe not Dancing with Our Hands Tied, and I forget which other one. But my point is like there was plenty of honeymoon phases with Joe kind of songs in that album. But the main thing, in my opinion, and why it's still regarded as, her comeback album and stuff like that, she put Look What You Made Me Do as the lead single off that album, which gave fans an inkling of the context behind, the background of that album. So that really planted the right seed in people's heads. And with this album, I feel like, that might have been different. Something that I don't really want to get into because it's, a more severe topic is simply that a lot of people might just not be in the best of moods. A lot of people might not have the best of mentalities right now. A lot of people might be going through lots of different things, in the current times. So in my opinion, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I really do feel like, people's moods and what you're going through will affect the way, that you receive something that's completely different than to what, you might feel like. Taylor said it herself. There's certain times when she'll put albums out and it'll directly coincide with what a fan is going through, and maybe that's why it resonates with them so severely. With this album, she's really, really happy, and she's writing from such a happy standpoint, such a, giddy, like I'm on cloud 9 kind of standpoint. And, that's fine. A lot of us might, have other things going on. So, not to get too much into that, but I firmly believe that might play a factor in the way that, we receive Taylor's or anyone's music at the time that we receive it. There's, those deranged people that think that they're hitting the jackpot with,
oh look, even her fans are mad this is the end of her career. That's it, she messed up.
Chill. This I got from, I think, one of the magazines. I opened my little poster. I have this from another magazine that I had, and the one that I didn't wait to open, I didn't open it on camera. I opened it as soon as I got it because I wasn't about to wait, was this bad boy right here. You guys want to see? Let me put my mic down. You're cool. Yeah, that one's from the Baby That's Show Business collection. So I did originally want the blue one, but long story short, I didn't have the funds to grab the blue one when I wanted it, and then it was just sold out. You know what I mean? Like within hours. And then this one restocked, so I got this one. When these vinyls were coming out, I know that people had interpreted that, those vinyls had represented the albums of which, she acquired the masters too. So I thought, hey, I've never owned a vinyl, and if these vinyls really do represent those, reclaimed albums, I wanted to get the one that would most likely represent Fearless, because I call that my rabbit hole album. That's when I was first introduced to her. That's when I fell in love with her music. Was Fearless since 2009, and I love saying that out loud because it's been so long at this point. I love it. I was about 14 years old when that album was out, and it's been great. And would Wood was a very polarizing song because the people that love Wood, they love that song, and the people that don't like it, they really don't like it. And even the the YouTubers that I like to watch and whose opinions I consider to be genuine, I've seen them critique that song a little bit, but I've seen others that just absolutely love it. I think a lot of people have like a misinterpretation of canceled. I really do like that song. I don't know if I'll grow neutral like to the production, but as far as the lyrical content, um, I notice how a lot of fans are kind of, pointing out like she's still talking about, the 2016 drama. Like, we get it, Taylor. You're on top. You won. Why are we still talking about this? I don't really think that she's trying to necessarily make it about her. I think that she's trying to advise that she knows what it's like to be, misunderstood among the public eye. Like she said, she's trying to be, like trying to make jokes. She's trying to be funny. She's trying to be playful. Ruin the Friendship did not turn out to be about what people thought it was. And then Canceled, people think that's about Blake. In my opinion, that's Taylor responding to fans, who thought, oh, well, Blake's in trouble. Now Taylor's going to have to keep her distance. I think her saying, good thing I like my friends canceled, is her knowing that people thought that. And she's kind of like correcting you, if that makes sense. And then Honey, I totally get the concept, that she's presenting here. That a lot of those words can be very condescending when they're, said to you. Oh, honey, that's not happening. Oh, sweetie. It can be very, what do people say? Patronizing. I'm totally neutral to that because I don't know. I don't really see that being a big enough concept for a song. But again, just my opinion. I now realize that I was mainly going over the songs that I had actual comments for. I also didn't mention anything about the ending track, The Life of a Showgirl, featuring Sabrina Carpenter. I think they're both epically good together. I love their voices together. That song is perfection. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, and I don't really have much else to say about it. I think it's perfect, and obviously a perfect ending to the whole album. I know that plenty of this album is going to keep growing on me. I really do enjoy it. I definitely don't dislike it. Is it going to be my favorite Taylor Swift album? Probably not. I don't know if anything's going to top Reputation for me at this point, because that's an album that coincided with what I was going through at the time that album came out. I was going through things in my life that I felt, like I said, very misunderstood, very villainized at the time. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm open to the subjective opinions, and let me know what your guys' favorite songs are. Let me know what your least favorite songs are. And let me know what I should react to next. I'm thinking probably Eminem, because I saw his what is it, a bit? I don't know what it's called. I saw his monologue with Slim Shady, and I know that he's a grandfather now too. I'm getting pretty curious, because as a kid, of course, I was discouraged from listening to him, right? But I know Lose Yourself and Mockingbird, those two songs, obviously, who doesn't know those? And then Love the Way You Lie with Rihanna, like those songs. Let me know what you guys think, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.